Hey, Brian Young here. Today's video is on establishing a book buying criteria. So it's really important to set up a good buying criteria for various reasons. One, it's going to require you to know your numbers. And so a lot of people operate Amazon selling businesses almost as if they're a hobby. They don't take them very seriously. But if you went to school and you got an MBA, I didn't. But if you study business, if you're reading business blogs and you're listening to podcasts, you're going to find out really quick. It's really important to know your numbers. It's really important to know the ins and outs of your business, so you can see where your business is profitable, maybe where your business is running inefficiently, and you can fix it. And that's how mediocre business become great, by knowing their numbers. And so setting up a solid book sourcing criteria, book buying criteria, is going to force you to know your numbers. It's going to force you to focus in on your business, analyze your business from a numbers perspective, and then come out with a solution on the other end for just a really good system or criteria for sourcing books. And then also putting together this system and putting all the time and effort and work into it is going to help you systematize your business later. So when you want to hire somebody to buy books, instead of having to tell them to, shoot from the hip and go from the gut when they're outsourcing books, you're going to be able to lay out this comprehensive, clear buying criteria that they're going to be able to follow, and they're not going to be confused with. It's really going to set them up for success. So where do you start? You want to set up a book buying criteria. What should you do first? And what I'd recommend is you set a standard. Now, your book buying criteria is going to change and mold and evolve as your business does. Guaranteed, what you start out with right now is probably not going to be what you end up with in a few months from here even. I mean, our book buying criteria, although it's stayed the same for about the last 6 months, is always changing and evolving. In fact, our book buying criteria is going to be changing here over the next couple months. It's not going to be a drastic change. I'll share with you where we're at right now in a few slides, but it is going to be a significant change. And that's just the way the business is. You have to be willing to pivot. You have to be willing to change things. You can't get too tied up in a system, because we live in an ever-evolving marketplace. But a good place to start is figure out what your maximum buy cost is. So what's the most amount of money you want to spend per book? What's the minimum amount you want to be able to sell that book on Amazon in its current condition? So what's the minimum sale price? And then also consider what's the maximum allowable sales rank. So Amazon has a sales rank on all their book listings. What's the highest you're willing to go? What's the cap? Now, before we go any further, it's really important to look at the numbers. It's important to understand how much this book selling business is going to cost you. How much is Amazon going to charge? How much is your equipment and supplies and subscriptions going to cost you? And how is that going to affect the net profit on each of your books? Plus, if you're planning on systematizing, you're planning on outsourcing portions of your business, how much is that going to cost you? So when it's all said and done, on average, how much you can be making in profit per book. That number is going to be key to helping you set up a good book buying criteria. So let's take a look. So if you go to Google and you type in FBA revenue calculator and you search, you should get this link right here at the top come up first. Now, FBA revenue calculator is Amazon.com's calculator that helps you determine how much a book is going to cost you in fees, and they're helping you calculate revenue. And really, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to encourage you to go from a merchant fulfilled seller to an FBA seller, but they give you both numbers. So let's find out just an average, your regular sized book. If you go here, there's a book called Never Eat Alone. This is your standard size book. So we're going to see how much this book would cost to fulfill FBA. So I'm just going to scroll down here to the bottom. I'm going to find the ISBN number. Bring it in. Now you can enter ISBN, ASIN, UPC number here for any type of product, and it's gonna search and find the product for you. So found the product. Now it has two columns. It has it's going to calculate revenue for how much this book would net you in profit if you were to fulfill it yourself, and if Amazon was to fulfill it. So let's just estimate that we're going to sell this book for $10.95. Inbound shipping. Now we pay about 34 cents a pound. And if I come back over here, it says this book it's going to take it's about $1, 1.2 pounds to ship. So let's just say it's about 40 cents. Now also in this inbound shipping, so we're also going to add other expenses into this box. Now, what you should be doing right now is thinking about how much you spend on equipment, supplies, and subscriptions. Think about all the costs associated with running this business. And the beauty of running a book selling business like the one that we're recommending, there's not a lot of overhead because you're probably operating out of a home office. So there's not going to be a ton of costs. You're not going to have to usually worry about rent and other insurances that would come into play if you're renting out like a big space. So consider the extra costs you have. Now, it's not going to be on a case-by-case basis, but let's say you're going to spend about $100 a month in supplies, equipment, and subscriptions. Now you need to figure out how many books you're planning on shipping in per month. So let's say, just hypothetically, you have $100 per month in expenses, and you're planning on shipping in 1,000 books. That means that each book is going to cost you an extra 10 cents. If you take that those monthly expenses and you divide them out per book sourced, it's an extra 10 cents. I think it's a pretty liberal estimate. So 50 cents. So just out of curiosity, if let's say hypothetically this book costs us nothing to buy, and this book costs us nothing in regards to paying somebody else to go out and source it for us, how much would we stand to make in profits? So $5.51. And so they give you a breakdown. They show you what all the fees are: the Amazon referral fee, the variable closing fee, pick and pack fee, weight handling, 30-day storage. And so you come out with a grant after that. The customer pays $10.95, and then you make $5.51 in profit. Now, what we're not considering, as I alluded to in the past, is how much the book costs. So now you have that number, that $5.51. You have that number to work with. How much of that money do you want to invest in the book? How much of the money do you want to invest in somebody to do some sourcing and some listing for you? So let's say a worst case scenario for us, somebody buys this book for $2, and then we also pay the person that bought the book $1 per book, so it's really $3 total to source the book. And then the person that we have listing the book for us, we pay him or her 25 cents more, so that'd be 75 cents total. And so that brings us $3.70. And if this book is being overseen by our book sales manager, we give him 25 cents per book sourced. So that'll bring it to a grand total of $4 in fees and expenses. So that means we sell for $10.95. Our net profit, our estimated net profit, is $2 and a penny. So that kind of will give you an idea of what you're aiming for, what you're looking for in a solid buying criteria. Next, you're going to want to figure out what a good sales rank criteria is. Check out page 59 in the book flipping book that you were given when you signed up for this course. It should be in the bonus section, or if you're a book flipping 1.0 member, it'll be on the home page there. You'll be able to find it there. But anyways, this is from Foreigners Books. This is their chart. It's somebody's guessing based on not a whole lot of research, but this is because Amazon doesn't give you these numbers. But they say a book with a sales rank of 1 is going to sell 10,000 copies per day, and 10, 400 copies, sales rank of 170 copies. So a sales rank of 1 million sells 1/10 of a book per day. So 30, 35, 36 books a year. Okay. So considering all these numbers, how would you like to structure your sales rank maximum? Do you want us to stop at 1 million? There's no guarantee that a well-ranked book is going to sell another copy anytime soon. There's no guarantee, because sales rank is what's called a lagging indicator. So what this information tells you is what past sales were, which isn't dependent upon future sales. So this isn't reading the future, but it's a good helpful piece of information. So I'm going to share with you our book buying criteria, and I'd encourage you to consider it, but feel free to make your own, because you don't need to be tied to what we do. Our book must not cost more than $2 to acquire, so $2 our maximum buy cost. It must be able to be resold for $10.95 or more, so it's our minimum sale price. And it must have a sales rank of 5 million or better. Now, I really would encourage you to establish your own criteria. Don't worry, because the criteria, again, like the criteria that you're creating today is not going to be around forever. I'd encourage you to, month by month, maybe every quarter, reevaluate your criteria and change it. Now, some people that are just starting out that have an inventory limit of 5,000 units, they might want to set their criteria a little tighter than what we have. They might want to only source books at 1 million or better sales rank, or 2 million or better sales rank. They might want to find higher priced books. And although that's going to put it's going to restrain how many books they're bringing in, and they're maybe going to be leaving some money on the table, at least they'll be confident the books they are bringing in are going to sell, so they can get that inventory limit raised, or they can just generate a lot of revenue to put back into the business. Maybe they don't have a ton of money, so they only want to buy maybe you only want to buy the best books now, and then you can focus on expanding your criteria later. That's totally fine. Now, feel free to borrow mine if you like to use. I know a lot of people use my criteria to some great success out there. That's great. I'd encourage you to do that. Hopefully, this video has helped inspire you. Hopefully, it's helped show you some of the costs associated with selling books on Amazon, and will help you set up your own book selling criteria.